Good morning once again. I think we can start. So welcome everyone to BEC webinar on 5G customer premises deployments. Today our speaker is Andre, Vice President of BEC Technologies. Hello, Andre. How are you today?
Good morning for me. I guess good afternoon for most of the folks on the call.
Yes, that's right. Early morning for you. We appreciate it.
No worries.
So I just wanted to let you know that the session is being recorded. After the session, within a few days, I will send you the link to the recording. And during the session, you can ask also questions using Q&A mode or chat. What do you prefer? And we'll try to answer them at the end of the session. So, Andre, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again for everyone for joining the webinar session. My name is DeAndre Ladson with BEC Technologies. I have responsibility for the marketing and also product development here at BEC Technologies. So the agenda is fairly straightforward. Give you a little bit of company background, overview of 5G developments or deployments, I should say. And then also we'll talk about what's driving a lot of this 5G adoption. I'll go over our roadmap, some use cases, and then we'll finally open it up for any questions at the end of the slide deck. So fairly straightforward agenda. So for those unfamiliar with BEC Technologies, we lead the ICT division of our parent company, Billion Electric. Billion has been around a little bit over 50 years or so. I think they celebrated their 50th anniversary earlier this year. Founded in '73, they're publicly traded on the TAIEX Stock Exchange. BEC at our core, we develop and manufacture high-performance broadband equipment. So think advanced services over copper, fiber, and wireless technologies. In terms of the markets we serve, we provide our solutions to telcos, carriers, communication service providers, enterprise, industrial. There's also transportation and public safety markets that we cover as well. We have deep leadership in terms of all things LTE, fixed wireless, 80% here in North America. In terms of broadband CPE, there's we're number 2 in terms of deploying that as well. And then in terms of enterprise market from a wireless WAN standpoint, we're one of the top 3 vendors out there. So millions of devices deployed, and all of this leadership's kind of bolstered on our 50 years of operation and nearly 20 years of operation in North America with providing all of the CPE equipment. Our core expertise centers around a broad array of solutions that kind of address multiple markets. So there's modems, gateways, routers, outdoor platforms, across a lot of different FDD and TD spectrums. And we tie that together with a cloud management platform, that offers, zero-touch provisioning, visual dashboards, et cetera, real-time analytics. Another key component of our design of our hardware is the antenna as well. So you'll see from a lot of our outdoor designs where we integrate the modem and antenna into a single housing. There's some special concepts and benefits of that antenna and design. And should any of our customers need additional requirements or additional functionality beyond off-the-shelf products or solutions, we can support custom development and requirements. So in terms of our production capacity, if needed, we can support up to 400,000 units a month in terms of producing these units through our SMT line. So a lot of functionality there from our core expertise. In terms of our vertical market expertise and success, here's just kind of a quick highlight of some of the customers across those key verticals that we're supporting today. Everything from energy, retail, industrial, all the way out to public safety. So the next slides will kind of walk through an overview of 5G developments or deployments. I'm sorry. So when you're thinking about 5G deployments, first you need to focus on what we consider the 5G foundation. This is sort of the three main areas of use case categories for 5G today. There's EMBB, enhanced mobile broadband. This is where we started with 5G a couple of years ago, with high capacity, high throughput, kind of mobile phone focus. And then we're moving out into massive machine type communication. So that's MMTC. And this is where you have just massive connectivity, a large number of devices, really dense deployments. And then further out, there's URLCC. So that's ultra reliable, low latency communication. That's a mouthful, but basically low latency communication for mission critical type of applications. So think of healthcare type services, robotics, cellular vehicle to everything in terms of car. So those are kind of the 5G foundational elements in terms of use cases, and they've kind of spread over the releases of 5G. So today with EMBBB, we're heavily released 3GPP release 15, and today we're moving into release 16 for a lot of the massive devices and high density type connectivity. Along with that, there's two deployment modes of 5G. So as there's a large development of 4G years ago, and the initial 5G deployment started with what they call NSA, non-standalone approach. So basically leveraging all of your 4G infrastructure and then just basically hanging up a 5G radio. So you would connect devices to the 5G radio, but leverage all of the signaling and infrastructure of your 4G network. So it's really the fast path to get up to 5G. And today you're starting to see for greenfield applications, obviously it makes sense to go with a standalone approach. So in contrast, that's no leveraging of 4G LTE. It's standalone, it's all 5G end to end. And that's where you see the true benefits of 5G as defined, because it's end-to-end complete 5G. So that's the standalone approach in terms of deployment. And then another key element is obviously the spectrum. So in terms of 5G, there's FR1, frequency range 1. This is basically sub-6. So just think of all of the existing LTE bands just within 5G connectivity mode with additional bandwidth. So for those that are familiar, LTE in terms of bandwidth is up to 20 megahertz of channel bandwidth. In that same frequency with 5G, FR1, that increases up to 100 megahertz of bandwidth across some of those specific bands. And then also there's FR2, frequency range 2. So typically this is millimeter wave. So typically when you hear folks talk about 5G and the multi-gigabit bandwidth and speeds and data, they're primarily focused on FR2 millimeter wave type of functionality. But again, those are kind of the core elements of a 5G deployment or 5G deployments. Something else to consider trending along with spectrum is really understanding the 5G spectrum layer. So in the sense of there's the coverage layer, which kind of typically focus on the low bands. So think of not necessarily high capacity and high bandwidth, but high propagation, long range connectivity. Then there's what we call the capacity layer. This is more the sweet spot, as everyone calls it, the mid band. This is where you get kind of the best of both worlds in the sense of you get enough, pretty good capacity and bandwidth throughput, and you get decent coverage. So this is kind of the best of both worlds in terms of that mid-band capacity layer. And then there's the high capacity layer. Again, millimeter wave. This is extremely high data throughput in capacity, but low propagation. So I guess in the sense of more of a European bands, examples of coverage layer band, low band would be N28, so that's 700 megahertz kind of APT. Mid band capacity would be kind of the C band, N77, 78, so 3536. And then high capacity millimeter wave band would be 28 gigahertz. So I think those are the three type of spectrums that are defined, at least for the European Union, or those 27 countries in the European Union. So there we are. There we are, the 5G spectrum layers. In terms of these business drivers, what's really driving the adoption? First, there's this digital transformation. I think we hear this overused kind of marketing term daily now. Every industry is having a digital transformation. It's kind of, the integration of all this new digital technology to make the business operate and deliver more value, operate more efficiently, et cetera. Another key driver that has been the key driver from 5G from the original deployments has been fixed wireless access. Finally, with the speed and capacity of 5G, you're able to get a viable alternative to legacy wireline connectivity. I mean, we're still a fiber first world, but where you can't get fiber, you can augment that with some now the 5G fixed wireless type of connectivity. There's a movement in terms of private networks as well. So instead of taking that, connecting to a carrier mobile network where the priority of that network tends to be for the mobile connectivity, now companies can come in, system integrators can come in and build private cellular networks for customers. So they get complete control of the network in terms of QoS, quality, security, but still have that flexibility and access like they do from a mobile network as well. Primarily from the States, we're seeing a lot of our carriers offer new and attractive data plans to entice customers to drive toward 5G. So there's a lot of network build out here stateside where we're seeing a lot of attractive data plans to move customers toward 5G. And along with 5G, this is still another carrier focus too. You're starting to see carriers, again, move away from NSA to standalone deployments. And that standalone, they're doing more overlay networks or standalone, will allow them additional functionality like to network slicing. So this is where the carriers can offer, I guess the best way to describe it is a logical or virtualized networks across that same carrier network to segment some of the traffic for specific applications. So a lot of the carriers are moving forward with that. And then, closing out some of the trends are, the increasing data traffic and, demand for high-speed connectivity, the increasing use of IoT and all this device connectivity. And then, you really can't have any 5G without spectrum. So, allocation from the government and resources to help spearhead to drive some of this 5G deployment is, that spectrum allocation. So from I guess, a global sub-region standpoint, if you're looking at one of the top drivers for 5G in terms of fixed wireless, currently there's 38 commercially launched 5G FWA networks in the EU. This information is kind of fresh off the presses in terms of courtesy of the GSA FWA report that just dropped on June 12th. So there's 38 commercial networks for fixed wireless access, and you can see from the first pie chart here by sub-regions, the number of operators that are investing in specifically 5G FWA. So that's been increasing over the years. But still, if you compare US with the rest of the world in the sense of what's launched and deployed, the EU is still somewhat behind in terms of actual launch networks. So you can see here the darker blue is launch and a couple of soft launch here, but this is increasing. Outside of fixed wireless access, I think for some of you guys that are partners and resellers of Wincom, you're looking at more, not just only fixed wireless access, but other B2B services that you can offer in terms of those applications over 5G. And this chart here kind of shows, there's significant opportunity across industry markets, so multiple different markets. I think, notably, you'll see here some of the larger markets are manufacturing. That's, primarily driven by all of the industry 4.0 type of trends and movements. There's energy and utilities. That's been kind of driven by all of the grid modernization, moving all those networks forward, getting off of old proprietary wireless technology to something that's more standards-based. There's a big movement in automotive. If you're familiar with CV2X, so that's cellular vehicle to everything. So there's a lot of connectivity in terms of intelligent transportation and those that are tied to in-vehicle type of connectivity. And then there's also public safety. Again, just think of marrying Tetra with some 5G functionality. So you get that Tetra reliable communication, and then you get the high-speed video and other effects and application that you can run on top of that with 5G. And then also pulling all of the public safety first responders into the type of the same network connectivity instead of their different networks. And then there's also even healthcare and others that you can see. So significant opportunity across vertical markets that are, key drivers for the 5G adoption. Not necessarily relevant to this audience, but I thought I'd toss in kind of what's happening stateside. A lot of this has been driven by the tier 1 carriers. So again, it's better pricing. So now you're starting to see pricing tiers where they're guaranteeing a certain amount of throughput for 5G. And then you're starting to see customers or carriers like T-Mobile really dropping the bottom out with $50 unlimited internet connectivity. Obviously, it needs to be address validated so they can make sure that they have that level of connectivity in that area. But between T-Mobile, US Cellular that are offering probably the low-cost plans in terms of unlimited at $50 a month, that's rivaling what you can get from a fiber standpoint. But they're also doing free routers, or BYOD, no contracts, cancel anytime. Unlimited, again, is the offer. Even at these speed tiers, it's unlimited, but it's a speed tier guarantee that you're going to get consistently 100 megabits, 200, 400, et cetera. So the tier 1 carriers in the States are really moving this forward from that standpoint. Okay. Now kind of jump into BEC's roadmap. I won't go into all the details. Obviously, the slides will be provided after the webinar, but just from a high level, you can see that these are all of our 5G solutions. Everything in green is already GA'd and deployed today. So we've got kind of the indoor gateway solutions and then outdoor solutions as well. Outdoor solutions are kind of our key differentiator for BEC Technologies. And then some other M2M solutions that are utility focused, kind of enterprise IoT, and then also some transportation specific solutions. So in-vehicle connectivity, light, heavy rail, et cetera. And some unique solutions in terms of self-installation for subscribers, kind of indoor, outdoor solutions. So just think from a subscriber standpoint, you're shipped the solution that comes with the mobile app. You can install it on your desk or just outside the window. So you get both indoor, outdoor type subscriber installation with that, sub-6 solution here. And then further out, we're working on a millimeter wave variant of that. And then our traditional outdoor solutions, kind of global C-band, and then a high-powered millimeter wave outdoor solution, for those operators that are looking at that. And a little further out, if you're into kind of narrowband IoT today, the 5G equivalent of that is what they call NR Lite, red cap. So top of 2024 is when you'll start to see that solution for those kind of low capacity, low data rate type of 5G solutions that we'll have. So again, high level roadmap. And I'll jump into a couple of product highlights based on some of the verticals that we're focused on. So primarily from an enterprise standpoint, just think of all of those applications. This is a device that has a modular cellular modem. So the plan is to offer upgradability from a cellular standpoint. So you keep the base router, and as we migrate to future cellular technology, you'll be able to still upgrade this unit here. So again, a couple Ethernet ports, Wi-Fi connectivity, and in terms of the range of applications, there's primary connectivity, branch office, distributed enterprise. You can even go to retail, K-12, higher education. This is kind of the one-all, do-it-all for those type of applications. For more of an industrial enterprise IoT, where you need a more rugged device that's small and compact, this is the solution. Think of industrial, oil and gas, kind of remote monitoring and control, those applications. We see a lot of use cases for this still from a business continuity failover for an existing WAN connection device, and also private network connectivity. So, IP50 enclosure, a couple Ethernet ports, 4x4 cellular, DC powered, rugged device. A little bit building on top of the previous device, kind of more targeted for utility, is this solution here. It's the MX220 UT. It adds some additional RS-232, 485 interfaces, digital I/O, again, DC powered 4x4, still IP50, kind of rugged and compact, but the additional serial interfaces bring on or add Modbus, TCP, out-of-band management type of connectivity. So this is targeted toward a lot of those energy utility applications, SCADA, AMI backhaul, VoltVAR, capacity banks, cap banks, et cetera, all that fan field area network type of communication equipment. In terms of the transportation industry, a number of solutions here, kind of the MX series, offering everything from M12 connectors, so, to help with vibration and shock. And then also for high automobile, there's FACRA connectors as well on solutions. So a number of solutions that to support in-vehicle connectivity, all the way from fleet, school bus Wi-Fi to heavy, light rail, and construction equipment. So a number of solutions for the transportation vertical. Again, more of a fixed wireless carrier standpoint. This is the solution I was talking about earlier in terms of an indoor, outdoor consumer subscriber self-installable solution. So, just outside of the window, powered PoE with an indoor router for Wi-Fi, mobile app to allow the consumer to locate to identify the best location for connectivity of this solution. So it's really meant to be quick, simple, hassle-free self-installation while providing, a unique user experience over 5G connectivity. And that's the BEC 8355. Continuing on, there's global C-band connectivity from outdoor units. So again, this is kind of that prize mid-band, low-cost solution that only focuses on the mid-band, the BEC 8234. So outdoor IP68 rugged enclosure. The front panel encompasses the antenna, And the SIM and PoE, Power Ethernet, are integrated into this device. So, long range connectivity from an outdoor solution. And again, there's the outdoor high power millimeter wave solution. So this solution will provide obviously the multi-gigabit data rates. You have to deal with some of the propagation issues of millimeter wave, but most of the carriers or customers that are deploying the solution have designed their network well within a range of high density connectivity for millimeter wave to kind of overcome some of the propagation issues with this. But again, that solution is sampling now as well. So this will provide the highest benefits in terms of capacity and bandwidth over 5G. And this is the 8243 solution. The next slide again is kind of a quick summary. I won't touch on this slide again. This is kind of, you can look at this once you get the slide deck for review, but I just wanted to put all of the solutions and kind of give you a quick little comparison in terms of the band supported, whether it was millimeter wave or sub-6, what are we doing from a carrier aggregation standpoint, which solutions have Wi-Fi or not, GPS, et cetera, their IP rating, and then some of their key features. So more of a quick little summary across all of those solutions that are coming to understand where they are, okay? And from a high-level summary in terms of why BEC, why our devices, kind of key features and advantages, I think from a solution standpoint or solutions portfolio standpoint, we offer a diverse range of solutions. There's modems, gateways, routers, again, outdoor platforms, and then we can take any of those solutions and customize those for any of your requirements or any customer requirements beyond just what we have on off the shelf. Again, in terms of when you're looking at some of these outdoor solutions, you have to have a really integrated antenna to allow this device to perform. So there are solutions that offer best coverage and capacity for non-line of sight deployments. And then there's also solutions that focus on long range, high gain connectivity as well from an antenna standpoint. If you're looking at deployment flexibility, all the solutions have multiple WAN capabilities. So, if you're looking at having primary cellular with a fiber connectivity from a backup or vice versa, you can support that on these solutions. And we even offer some of the solutions that support Wi-Fi can support Wi-Fi as a WAN. There's dual SIM capabilities. We even have solutions that offer triple SIM capabilities. So you could have the best of the carrier diversity you want with 3 SIMs activated. A lot of differentiated solutions as well. And then we tie this together with a cloud management platform that's, I believe that's unique in the industry in the sense of that it focuses more on the RF itself and how the device sees the network, not your typical cloud management in the sense of, is my device online, offline, et cetera. That functionality is there, but where we excel is up and above that. Okay, so now I'll jump into some of the use cases and applications, and these use cases are kind of tied into what we saw earlier from the charts that were focused on driving the adoption of 5G, kind of where that focus is going. So if you look at from an energy and utility standpoint, again, the primary focus is modernization of the grid, moving everything to a smart grid, taking all of these various different wireless technologies, UHF, VHF, et cetera, moving them to more of a standards-based technology like a 5G. And then, along with this is the renewed interest or the key focus on renewable energy and sustainable solutions like wind farms, solar farms, et cetera, that are leveraging 5G to complete some of those deployments. So from a application diagram standpoint, again, just putting together visually how you can see some of these solutions working. In terms of grid modernization, you can think of the field area network. So there's solutions for the substation, cap banks, capacity banks, boat VAR, Flisser, AMI backhaul. So that's kind of the entire distribution network. If you're looking at something from a renewable, there's wind farms and solar farms. So just thinking of, if you have utility-based solar farms or community-based solar farms, having a 5G router connect up to the PV inverters to provide, remote management, predictive maintenance, understanding usage and overage. There's a lot of opportunity there from a 5G standpoint for the renewables, and even EV chargers as well. Remote connectivity to the network for management and control of an EV charging station. So those are some of the utility applications that you will see that can leverage 5G or benefit from 5G deployment. From an enterprise standpoint, this is everything from day one connectivity to backup or to SD-WAN connectivity to private networks as well. So it's all about enablement, connectivity, edge compute, remote work, etc. So a lot of enterprises are using these for those applications. So you can think of branch office connectivity, distributed enterprise. We have a number of customers today just using our solutions from an out-of-band management standpoint. So a secondary path to the network, to the console of their routers outside of their primary path, which is multiple fibers. And then SD-WAN deployment. So there's a lot of these SD-WAN appliances that are managing multiple WAN interfaces. And obviously, if you're going to have, fiber first is still where a lot of enterprise go lead with. So you could have fiber as a primary connection for your SD-WAN, and you could have spillover from a cellular standpoint. And the SD-WAN compliance can either have both WAN interfaces active or keep the cellular interface in standby. Or we even have some customers that at times aggregate all of the WAN interfaces for overall throughput, and even some have policy-based routing to allow specific applications to go over the cellular interface versus the fiber interface as well. So SD-WAN appliance allows a lot of control for that functionality, but that secondary WAN interface from a cellular standpoint is a great option to have. And obviously, when you're looking at 5G, now with the speed and the capabilities of 5G, you have something that's on par with a wire or fiber connectivity if that's your primary WAN of an SD-WAN deployment. Some additional, sorry, the mouse is okay. Retail is also a big industry. So just think of, again, going back to some of the digital conceptuals, you look at new customer experiences. So, differentiating your brand by leveraging some of the new applications over 5G. Also, in terms of just more technology advancement, there's cashierless checkout. There's interactive kiosks and displays, kind of the IoT coming in from an inventory management. We even have a few customers now that have AMR robots that do the stocking and inventory, and they have 5G routers attached to that for remote connectivity and control. And then lastly, you can think of, pop-up locations. So outside of the brick and mortar store, having a pop-up location where you need instant connectivity, and you can leverage that 5G from that right away. Get a SIM and power, and you're up and connected. Some of those applications, obviously a brick and mortar store. So with 5G, you can leverage one router for connectivity of the entire store. So just think, obviously, your POS system would probably be your number one connectivity, but guest Wi-Fi, even public and employee Wi-Fi, keeping those separate. Security or surveillance cameras, digital kiosks, etc. All of that can be managed with the 5G router connection. Again, ATMs as well, and digital signage are another applications that kind of tie into a retail focus for a 5G standpoint. From transportation, just think of the, basically the, transportation in terms of an industry is large itself. Transportation hubs can be everything from shipping ports to airports to big manufacturing plants. So all of those verticals, all of those applications within the transportation industry can be supported. And that even continues down to, in-vehicle connectivity from a standard fleet management and control up to public safety applications. And that extends over to ITS, so that's intelligent transportation systems, along with CV2X. So in terms of CV2X, you'll have OBD devices and also, cabinets on the side of the road that the vehicles can connect to. So transportation is a significant industry that can leverage the benefits of 5G. And again, some of the solutions that we have here are targeted toward that. So again, first responders, connection to video, tablets, VPN, and Wi-Fi as a WAN connectivity. So if they happen to drive back to the station, you can offload kind of the recorded video from the trunk cameras off to the network. From a metro bus standpoint, again, everything from security surveillance cameras to the ticket, to GPS, to customer Wi-Fi. And if you're looking at, of a shipping port, we had a deployment with Nokia. This was 4G, but I believe they will move it to 5G at some point at the LA port, where they had modems on the container or the cranes that pull the containers off the ship. That were monitoring the crane and other aspects. So they were leveraging 4G at the time for that, but I believe that will migrate to 5G as well in terms of the shipping port and all of that connectivity. And lastly, it's kind of the manufacturing. So I think everyone's kind of heard about, or, Industry 4.0 that's kind of driving a lot of this in terms of the smart factory, automation and control, kind of predictive maintenance now that you can get all of this information, real-time data back to the control center. There's also the AMR aspects today, kind of those automated mobile robots that have 5G devices enabled, and they're moving things around the warehouse and help, designed to specifically transport items. And then again, from a manufacturing standpoint, so there's so many devices that you can connect. It's all about that massive device connectivity. So everything from sensors to routers to APs, et cetera, from a manufacturing standpoint. And again, some additional application diagrams that talk about connectivity to its assembly lines, packaging, and then more of automation and control from, SMT lines, et cetera, going down. So again, those applications and industry verticals tie back toward what's driving the adoption in terms of the B2B services for each of those market verticals. And again, with any device, you need cloud management. And our cloud management platform is called B Central Cloud Edge. As we say, it's valuable insights or network visibility at the edge. So I think from a core management standpoint, whether your devices are offline, online, firmware upgrades, configuration backup, the standard device management functionalities are there. But where we excel is real-time analytics of RF characteristics. So you can see details of what tower you connected to, CQI, the rank indicator, all of this core RF information. We store it with a historical chart over a 60-day period, and you can go back and understand how the device is performing from an RF standpoint. And then there's a host of different functionality that's controlled, zero touch deployments. You can go out and reconfigure all your devices at once, et cetera. So all of that core functionality is kind of built into our cloud platform there. And so in terms of the key takeaway, I think, the benefits of 5G kind of extend beyond just speed and connectivity, which is the most typical definition of what folks come up when they think of 5G. So from a standpoint as a partner of Wincom and, your reseller system integrators, you can go IT consultants, you can jump in and kind of leverage 5G to increase business growth and offer new services to your customers. So, with 5G, there's all of this seamless integration into these emerging technologies. So, if you pick any one of those verticals, you could see that there's new technology and applications that are being developed as a part of this digital transformation. And you can leverage 5G to support all of that innovation and growth. Across all industries, 5G is offering, enhancements to efficiency and productivity. And, if you think specifically about retail and others, there's new customer experiences that you can do. Considering, the speed and low latency of 5G, there's real-time monitoring, which you can leverage that into more of a predictive maintenance type of standpoint and overall cost savings from the efficiency. And then I think just in general, again, if you look back to what's driving the adoption, all of these market verticals and industries are embracing 5G technology to leverage that transformation from a competitive edge to make their businesses more efficient, et cetera. So, it's truly digitally a connected world today. And I believe as partners of Wincom and leveraging what's going on in your territory, you should be able to take advantage of some of this 5G and look at new business growth opportunities and services that you can offer to your customer base. I'll close with, why BEC. I think from a business longevity standpoint, again, we've been around over 50 years. 50 years as our parent company and 20 years in North America as BECs ourselves. We are a developer and a manufacturer. So every solution that you saw in this presentation is developed in our factories, and it's our IP, with the exception of the cellular module. So when it comes to design, customization, again, ODM services, contract manufacturing, it's our design, so we can customize that and to whatever requirements of the customer. Global presence, and we've got facilities, customer distributors, et cetera, globally. A lot of differentiated solutions. Technical expertise and support. We started with 3G, and that's migrated all the way to 4G and 5G. Again, outside of cellular, we've done a number of communication solutions, everything from way back in the day to ISDN up to ADSL, GPON, and fiber technologies as well. So from a broadband connectivity communication standpoint, we have a lot of history of an experience. And then I think also, value for performance. I think competitive, relative to some of the competitive solutions in the market, we offer top value and performance per cost of those solutions. And I'll stop there. And at this point, that's a good point. We're about 45 minutes. We can open it up for any questions and go from there.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. Yes, we have one question. Let me try to share it. Oh, no, you have to look at it. Can you, Andre, look at the Q&A?
Okay, yeah. So,
yeah, because I thought that I can share it on the screen, but I don't.
Okay, I can assume everybody can see it here. It says, please provide the real speed of CPE and N77 on 100 megahertz, let's say 1 mile distance. Yeah, there's a lot of factors in speed. I can tell you what we see here in the States from Verizon connectivity against N77. My distance from 1 mile, I think I'm about 3 miles from the tower, and it's about 600 megabits down. But again, that's a factor that could, that could change on any given day because we don't necessarily control the tower. So I say the average speed was between 500 and 600 of what I've seen. And I think it's not 100 megahertz, it's about 80 because only 80 megahertz at least of N77 is available in this particular location. So you could definitely get higher speeds, but there's so many relative factors when you're connecting to a carrier that you can't control unless you do a true private network. So in my location, my tower is about 3 miles that I'm connected to. I think it's 80 megahertz of N77. And that's the speed that I get. If I look at other low frequency bands, like with T-Mobile, I've got N41, sorry, mid-band, 100 megahertz of N41, and I think it's 4.5 miles from the tower, and that's consistently about 560 down, 475 to 560 downlink, and average of 80 to 110, I think, is the highest I've seen from a uplink standpoint. Again, it changes throughout the day, but consistently N41 mid-band 100 megahertz, which is N77's mid-band as well. But that's the kind of throughput we're seeing. From our vantage point, also from the state side, T-Mobile probably by far has the best 5G network that we can see from various testing of our customers and what we've seen. So Verizon does offer ultra wideband in terms of millimeter wave, very limited technologies. They're expanding their C-band because they're leveraging C-band out in rural for fixed wireless standpoint. Today it's NSA, but by the end of this year, it's going to be a lot of SA deployments of that. So we're expecting a little bit higher throughput. But by far, in terms of just coverage across regular bands, even low and high or low and mid bands, T-Mobile seems to have the best coverage from that standpoint. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's the only question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only question. So if you have any more questions, this is the right moment to write them down. But also, as I mentioned at the beginning, I will send you the link to the recording within few days, and also contact details to our team, so you can always ask additional questions later.
Yep. And my contact information will be provided. So, I'm open at any point for anyone that wants to schedule a call to talk about the products or talk about just the technology in general, in terms of what we're seeing primarily from the state side, and also some of our deployments that are going on Europe as well. So any questions, anytime, don't hesitate to reach out.
Oh, we have one more comment.
Yeah, so in terms of non-line of sight, our outdoor solutions, let's see, do I have a picture? Let's see. Have wide beam width, so they're able to take advantage of multipath better. Some of these solutions, like these solutions, have a multi-element antenna, so it's a wideband antenna. It also has a wide beam width. So in terms of multipath, so if you're get into any trees or anything that's affecting the sender, the signal, we can take advantage of that multipath and increase that non-line of sight connectivity. So those solutions support that. And then we also have some other solutions that are kind of focused strictly on line of sight. So a really, really high gain antenna with a narrow beam width where the beam is focused to get that long range connectivity. But these solutions here, even this one with the millimeter wave and additional panel antenna, has a wider beam width to take advantage of the multipath to give you pretty good signal and coverage in those non-line of sight areas or issues. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think that's all. So thank you very much, Andre. It was a pleasure listening to you and to see this presentation. thank you very much. I hope that we will meet soon for another presentation, another webinar. And thank you all for participation. We will be in touch. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.